Well, hello there. I'm Dr. Jordan Soper. I'm a board-certified behavioral and cognitive psychologist, as well as an ASEX certified sex therapist. Welcome to a new series called Psychologist Reads. I love books. And one of the things I really love about mental health and psychology is being able to consume material, think about material. So I'm actually going to spend some time with you reading one of my favorite books, which is She Comes First by Ian Kerner. And one of the things that I really like, it's a little bit like a book club, is I want to read a little bit to you and I want you to think about the content, what reactions you're having, and we're just going to spend a little bit of time reading together. I am someone who I grew up on reading Rainbow and LeVar Burton, and I love the idea of reading together. And there's so many books to read, and I'm also going to hold myself accountable and utilizing this series so I can also read. We're going to start with one of the ones I've already read, just to ease us into it. How does that sound? Let's get started. Chapter 7, Avoiding Freud. Sigmund Freud made a name for himself demonizing the clitoris and formulating a truly cockamamie view of women's sexuality. Freud propagated the idea that the clitoris was an immature source of sexual pleasure, a mere launching pad for the more mature vaginal orgasm, which of course could only be produced via genital intercourse. What's particularly insidious is that at the time of his postulating, Freud had a clear understanding of the anatomical role of the clitoris and chose instead to promote his personal ideas about female sexuality over current scientific knowledge. Freud demoted the clitoris and promoted the vagina, characterizing clitoral orgasms as infantile. According to Freud, adult women needed to get past their need for clitoral orgasms and develop a desire for penetration. After all, isn't that what penises do? Penetrate. Female masturbation was criticized as creating clitoral dependency. Cunnilingus was verboten. In Freud's view, there were no two ways about it. If a woman couldn't be satisfied by penetrative sex, something must be wrong with her. As Dr. Thomas Lowry commented in his essay, The Cultural Psychology of the Clitoris, the idea sprang into Freud's mind in 1910 without a visible shred of experimental evidence, and it has probably caused more unnecessary worry than any other single psychological notion. Since it was well known at the time that sensitive nerve endings contributing to sexual response were on the surface of a woman's genital area, Freud's views were not based on physiology or an understanding of anatomy, but rather on a conception of human sexuality that reinforced the penetrative reproductive model. Hence, a woman's sexuality became subsumed by a male's. From there, it was all downhill. Freud's summary dismissal of the clitoris as an important focus of sexual satisfaction for women has an atomic effect on how physicians and psychologists perceived women's sexuality. It was as if, for most of the 20th century, women's extensive genital anatomy and even the explosive little glands was vaporized. Memory of the clitoris gradually faded until it became an anatomical non-entity. Alas, if only Freud, who himself said, "Anatomy is destiny," had the clitoral sense to see that this powerful organ could eventually rise from the ashes of his much bagly hooded cigar. In fairness to Freud, it should be acknowledged that as he neared the end of his life, he acknowledged his incomplete understanding of female sexuality and said, "If you want to know more about femininity, you must interrogate your own experience or turn to the poets, or else wait until science can give you more profound and more coherent information." Today, our understanding and appreciation of the importance of the clitoris and the stimulation of it owes much to the dogged efforts of those impassioned individuals who bucked the conventional wisdom and did battle throughout the sexual revolution of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Prominent figures such as Dr. Alfred Kinsley, Masters and Johnson, Cherie Heat, Betty Dodson, and less prominently, but equally important ones like Dr. Mary Jane Sheffrey, who pioneered the idea that the clitoris is a powerful organ system. But knowledge is only powerful when disseminated and put into practice. Men need to take the time to learn what most women know intuitively about their bodies, and how to listen to and feel them. And sex needs to be redefined as an activity that accommodates a wide variety of sensual and erotic activities, including, but by no means limited to, genital intercourse. In both philosophy and practice, any definition of sex must, first and foremost, include a powerful element of respect. According to journalist Paula Kamen, the author of the Survey of Sexual Attitudes, Her Way, women receiving oral sex is an act most directly reflecting women's growing power in both their sexual relationships and in society. The practice depends on both women and men's recognition and respect of their power. In The Cradle of Erotica by A. Edwardes and R.E.L. Masters, we are told that during the Tang Dynasty, the Empress Wu Hu ruled China. She knew that sex and power were inexorably linked, and she decreed that government officials and visiting dignitaries must pay homage to Her Imperial Highness by performing cunnilingus upon her. No joke. Old paintings depict the beautiful, powerful empress standing and holding her ornate robe open, with a high nobleman or diplomat is shown kneeling before her, applying his lips and tongue to her royal mound. Well, gone are the days of kings and queens and royal decrees, but inside many a modern woman is Empress Hu Wu, longing to be honored by her nobleman. So, Chapter 7 in She Comes First talks about the importance of demystifying or normalizing bodily function. I have some questions for you. Were you surprised by anything in there? Did you have reactions to anything in that chapter? Would you like to learn more? When we think about reading material, when we think about mental health, when we think about psychology, it's not just reading content, it's not just consuming, it's also thinking. Did you know that information? What was fascinating to you? Were you disagreeing with any of it? I really like the idea of how do we utilize books and knowledge to be able to think about different concepts and have an opportunity to reflect on content and how it can reflect on our own experience. Hopefully you will be joining me for the next episode of Psychologist Reads. I have a giant list of different books that I like, as well as some new ones that we're actually going to be reading together. So again, if you have not picked up She Comes First by Ian Kerner, do I recommend it above most? Yes, I do. And we'll see you next time.